Welcome back to this week's Focus Show. I'm your host, Bishop Dunn. Today I had the chance to interview the weekday morning anchor, Kiahnna Patterson. Check it out. That's good. Well, the first question I want to ask you is, when did you decide that you want to pursue a career in journalism?
I was actually a senior, like many of you guys are. I was a senior at Warwick High School, and I was trying to get a scholarship. So I had to write this essay of like what I want to do. And I was like, you know what? My parents watch the news all day, every day, and I think I want to do that. So I wrote this scholarship essay, like outlining exactly what I want to do. I was like, I want to go to ODU. I want to study journalism. I want to get an internship, and ultimately end up at CNN. And I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. So a lot of the stuff that I said in the essay actually happened. So manifestation and hard work really does help.
Okay, so hearing that, who do you think were like some of your inspirations growing up? Like who really pushed you into becoming the journalist you are today?
So I'm from Newport News, and I grew up watching Don Roberts on TV. I don't know if you guys know who he is. I feel like he was here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we had him here for edition of the Focus Show.
See?
So we got
Oh my
to interview
gosh,
and talk to him.
I'll have to watch his episode. But I actually grew up watching Don Roberts on the morning show, and he came to my elementary school when I was in second grade and read to our class. So I always looked up to him. So fast forward to 2018, I got to actually work with him for years. For about 4 or 5 years, I worked with Don Roberts. So I really did look up to him, what he does for the community, what he does for kids, the representation that he provides.
Okay. I also got another question is, what was the journey like? You know, coming from being, like I said, you started off as a senior in high school, wanting to pursue this career. So what was the journey to lead you up to this point?
The journey wasn't easy, and it's still not really that easy. But so the route that I took, I went to Old Dominion University. In my senior year, I had a class that said, hey, you have to get an internship. So I put together like a little resume tape and sent it to WAVY. Didn't hear anything back. So I started calling. I started, emailing, texting, whoever I could so that I could get my foot in the door. Eventually, I ended up getting the internship at WAVY. And then that internship turned into a job. So I was pretty much a cameraman at WAVY for about a year after I graduated from ODU. And then I was like, you know what, I think I'm ready to get in front of the camera. I think I've learned everything that I can behind the scenes. So then I applied for a job in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But I was in like a satellite office about an hour and a half away from the actual station in Myrtle Beach, in a city called Florence, and it's off of 95. So I was there by myself. I did everything by myself. I was my own camera person, my own editor, my own engineer, for 2 years, and covered some really difficult stories completely solo. Then a morning position became available at WAVY, and I don't know if you guys know who Anita Blanton is, but she was the primetime anchor at WAVY. She's my mentor. So I reached out to her. I'm like, hey, can you look at my resume reel? And she was like, I just talked to the news director. He's going to call you tomorrow. And I was like, oh, I'm not ready. But turns out I was ready. That turned out to be a morning reporter job, which I was the overnight reporter for 4 years. Then I moved to weekend mornings for 2 years. And now I just got promoted like maybe 2 months ago to the weekday morning anchor. So yeah, the journey hasn't been easy. Like saying it like that makes it sound like it was super easy, but it really was not. 10 years of hard work. Like I really have skin in this game. And I mean, I really am a student of the game. Like, you know how football players watch tape? Like I'm watching the news, I'm watching how others are doing it and learning how to get better. And I really encourage all of you guys to do the same thing.
Okay. We'll have more with Kiahnna Patterson. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the Virginia High School 1600 meter state championship. As we get back to the action, we see Miles Monpoint is gaining on Antonio Boyd for the first place finish. Oh! Miles Monpoint just tripped Antonio Boyd.
But Trayvon is helping him up right now.
Trayvon is helping him up as Trayvon just sacrificed his third place finish to help out Antonio Boyd.
Yeah, that right there is kindness and excellent sportsmanship right there by Trayvon.
about your pre-airing habits you like to do?
Well, I work early in the morning, so of course I have to have coffee. Like it's just a given. But I am a very big Christian, so I pray. Like when I'm driving into work, when I swipe my badge to get in, it's like 3 doors that I have to swipe my badge in, and it's a ritual that I pray in between all of those doors. Just because, the news can be very draining emotionally. I don't think people realize or talk about that enough. I know you guys just had the PSA talking about, are you okay? Mental health. So I really am trying to do just a better job of making sure that I'm checking in with myself before I go and present, sometimes really terrible situations that are happening around us.
When do you have to be in the doors in the morning? Like
that is the number one question that I get all the time. Like, what time do you have to go in? And what time do you go to sleep? So I go in around 3 o'clock in the morning. But that is better than what I used to do. I used to have to go in at 1 a.m. when I was the morning reporter. So that means I had to get up at midnight. Yes. My cameraman here is like, what? Yeah, it's a grind. Like I said, the journey has not been easy. So, but I mean, think about it. Like people are waking up crazy hours to make sure that you know what's going on in the world around you. And it really is important.
Okay. Ms. Patterson, I want to ask, we heard that you said Don Roberts was one of your inspirations. So do you have any other inspirations that helped you get to this point where you at?
Someone that I study is Gayle King. Hopefully she's watching this. But yes, I study Gayle King in the way that she just is. She's authentic. She's herself. And I feel like I want to get to that point. So.
All right. So do you have any side hobbies other than being the Wavy News reporter? Is there any like side hobbies you have?
I think I'm very blessed to be from here. So I have like a lot of really good friends. Some of them are musicians. So I really enjoy live music. We go out and we listen to them, support them. My family's here, so I spend a lot of time with my family. I am trying to get more into like yoga and stuff like that, but it's 2025. I'm trying to try new things. So I think yoga will be my new hobby.
And so musicians, like, is there like any local people, like any like local rappers, local R&B artists that like from here that made it far that you know?
So my friend that I was just talking about, his name is Just John. He actually made it on The Voice. Now, did he win? Not yet, but he's working on it. But yeah, I mean, he's doing really well, and that's who I usually am going to support. Like I'm going to his events, just to be there and say, hey, like I see you and I support you. Now, eventually he may have to move to a bigger city, but people can, be discovered from right here in Newport News. We've seen it happen, so.
All right. Do you have any favorite memories since you've been on Channel 10?
I feel like so many. I've had so many just really good experiences. I mean, recently I was able to interview Gabby Douglas, who is an Olympian. She's from Virginia Beach, and I was a gymnast. When I went to Warwick High School, I was a gymnast. So being able to interview her and like just be around her, I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
How was it? How was the interview?
Oh my gosh, it was so cool. She was very like grounded and genuine, and I just was like, man, we should hang out. Like that's literally what I was thinking, but I'm sure she gets that all the time. But yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I remember Gabby Douglas back in elementary days and seeing her, and then also how like basically like a pass of the torch with Simone Biles.
Definitely.
So
That's I mean, but I've been able to interview a lot of celebrities and athletes during my time, but it really isn't those stories that stick out most to me. It's really the stories that I'm able to really get to know someone. I do a lot. I don't know if you guys know about it, but teen dating violence is a real thing. When someone is controlling and things like that, I do a lot of stories on domestic violence and teen dating violence. I actually have like a whole page on WAVY.com that's dedicated to that, and that's after I lost one of my high school friends to domestic violence. So I don't know if that's like my favorite story, but those are the stories that I really try hard to talk about, because if we don't talk about it, nothing changes.
I know I asked you earlier about like your airing habits. Is it like, I know you got WAVY-TV. I know y'all probably got like a lot of notes y'all have to write down.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
can you tell me about that?
I think some of the things that I try to do is I make sure that I read over every single thing that I am about to say. I fact check everything that I'm about to say because it's very important. And then I'll rewrite it in my own voice. So that is something that I really, really make a conscious effort of doing. That's kind of like my preparation before I go on.
Is there anything that you would change differently on anything coming from like senior year that you discovered that you want to be a journalist? Anything from that point to now? Is there anything you change differently?
The biggest thing that I probably would have changed is just believing in myself more. I feel like I was very hesitant, even throughout college. I was like, do I want to go after this? Do I want to go after this? So being in a class like this, I think would have been a game changer for me. But yeah, I think that that's really the biggest thing. And I want kids to really just know that you can do anything that you put your mind to.
Okay. All right. And my last question is there any advice that you would give to the next generation of media journalists, sports media, cinematographers, camera operators, videographers, anything that you would give to the next generation?
Everyone in the room. I would say start now, but you guys are doing that. But I would say start now with your own, When I was coming up, we didn't have the YouTubes, we didn't have, these podcasts and then having all the equipment available to us to actually do it. Like we just didn't have that. So I think that if I was a senior right now, I would start today with what I want to do. So if you want to be a sports journalist, go on and start doing it. Like reach out to the anchors at WAVY and see if they could talk to you and just start making those connections because it's really important.
Thank you. That's all that we have today. I'd like to thank Ms. Patterson again for taking time out of her day to come here and be on this Focus show. That's all we have. I'm your host, Bishop Dunn. We'll see you next time.